Good morning, friends and traders. Welcome to the Market Forecast. I am Dan Hodgman. It is Monday, October 19th, and man, elections are getting a little bit closer. I don't know about you guys, but I've been seeing a lot of the commercials everywhere I turn. Just a sign things are happening. Exciting news, just starting to see it now. American Airlines finally posting some uplift, some positive numbers. With the reintroduction of the 737 MAX, that is getting a lot of okays now. I think Europe has already said it is good to go. Still waiting on the U.S. to give the thumbs up, but things are looking good for 737 MAX. But on the flip side, we all know these airlines are struggling, especially with the surge, and I'm talking surge in COVID cases around the world. I think we have peaked 40 million. Europe, including London, has surpassed the United States in daily cases. It's amazing. We had a nice dip during the warm weather when everyone wanted to get outside. Now that it's getting cold and crummy out, cases are surging. Funny how it works. For those of you that have been affected by it, we definitely want to keep you guys in our thoughts. Hopefully we can get through this pandemic sooner rather than later. Other news to keep an eye on. Stimulus talks. Gosh, gotta love politics, right? A week ago, we get President Trump saying, no deal. We're not making a deal. Focus on elections. And then 2 days later, he's like, all right, here, let's just start doing it piece by piece. Let's try and make something happen. And then Pelosi comes out and says, no deal. Now Pelosi's got a deadline before the election. So that one's going to be interesting. So possible stimulus package hopes coming out this week. Keep an eye on, I guess. Earnings continue to roll in. IBM today, Honeywell, the London Stock Exchange, Halliburton. Halliburton came in, little miss on revenue, but good hit on earnings per share. As far as economic events today, Jerome Powell spoke this morning. I don't know if he's still speaking. I've got CNBC on. I haven't seen anything on that one. He spoke this morning. I'll have more information on that probably this afternoon. And then this one's kind of interesting. ConocoPhillips bought Concho Resources for $9.7 billion. One of the biggest, or is the largest U.S. oil deal this year. Especially with everything going on since the pandemic began. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at these charts here, see what we got going on so far today, see where we all stand, and hopefully we can find some good opportunities setting up. A lot of these markets have already kind of come into some pivotal areas. As always, starting with the daily and crude, we have officially rolled into December. So we made some adjustments here. Weekly kickoff high up here at $42. Weekly kickoff low at $40.20. And I apologize if you can hear the dog in the background there. Sarge has got to wake up the whole neighborhood every day. Also, good morning, everybody. Charles, good morning to you. Tanya, Felix, Christopher, John. I know we explained how to say your name, and I apologize. I do forgot. Good morning to you as well. Fanous, Kevin, down in rainy Caribbean. Oh, man. Level 2, good morning, Rob, Marco, Kevin. National lockdown ID system continues here, 200 plus days. Oh, gosh. MSS Capital, ready to go and good luck. Thank you for that one. Mike, good morning. Eric, good morning. Doyle, good morning. Yeah, level 2, 737 in Europe. James, good morning. Yeah, time to be a hermit. Right, exactly. Trade talks going well all over again. It's exactly the exact same thing. Josue, good morning. All right. Did I say Kokono? I meant Conoco. My bad. Vast West and AJ, good morning. All right, guys, let's get back into these charts here. Like I said, weekly kickoff levels in the December contract for crude oil. 42 even on the upside and 40.20 on the low side. Going to keep an eye on these things here today. Excited to see how this market plays out, especially with some bigger news coming out. We may see some more action. Market has opened up, so let's get a little closer look, see what we got going on so far here today. Well within Friday's range. So first and foremost, we're trading with inside that range. Let's get an idea of those levels. 41.18 down to the low side of 40.76. Definitely worth keeping an eye on, with settlement price right here at 41.12. 41.12 is settlement price. So what am I going to be looking for here today? First and foremost, I'm going to be kind of keeping an eye closer to this Friday's value area high, and bringing our low not so much down to value area low from Friday, but I'm going to kind of creep it up a little bit more to 40.90. A couple other levels I'm going to be keeping an eye on as this thing really starts to open up. We have quite some action up here at 41.30. Good opportunity was traded there last night. We saw it there way last night. We saw it later last week. Multiple rejections up here at 41.30. So market gets to 41.30. Going to look for some opportunity to the downside. If we can get this thing extending lower, which right now it's showing it wants to stay range bound. It's saying it wants to stay inside, but if this thing breaks lower, we get through Friday's value area low of 76 here. We're going to start bringing it a little bit lower to 40.60. 40.60 would be the next area to keep an eye on. At this point, what I'm seeing right now, market is range bound. That's what I'm going to focus on as I approach this market. If things change, then we'll readjust. We have ideas of where the market can go. The question is, how are we going to react if this market starts to open up? What do we do if this market approaches that swing high from last week up here at 41.57? Well, that's opportunity. That's a great place to look for opportunity. We watch order flow. We watch that momentum, see how that market's reacting, and make our decision-making process for there. Next, let's go ahead and look at the S&P 500, which we're showing a little bit of life here. We had a couple down days over the last week. So far, opening up this morning higher on stimulus hopes, positive thoughts there. Like I was just saying in the beginning, American Airlines up 1%. All the airlines are up this morning on hopeful thoughts there. Nonetheless, market is still maintaining that trend to the upside. We were looking at that channel that we were talking about last week. Guys, remember this. We are still very comfortably within that range. This market is still maintaining trend to the upside. Therefore, that's what we're paying attention to. We're going to look for opportunities within this. So market is maintaining trend to the upside. Our weekly kickoff levels are unchanged from last week. Our high up here at 35.45 with our low down here at 3400. Heck, we could probably even consider to start tightening them up. When we look a little bit closer in the S&P 500, we have settlement price over here at 34.62 quarter. 34.62 quarter. If this thing turns around, we may see this market beeline in this direction. We have a gap right here, 34.70 all the way down. We opened up, we gapped open here. So this gap here, about 8 points, is really going to be key. Remember, the longer we start to trade away from, the harder it is to close the gap. Right now, we're still relatively close. Market's going to open up here shortly. Keep an eye on this gap. Level 2, I like your price there at 35.16. Definitely an area keeping an eye on. 34.94, what do you got here? 34.94. Market continues to hit that wall. Definitely a level to keep an eye on. Here's what I have today. So first and foremost, I am looking a little bit higher at 95 to 96 here. Friday's point of control. Going to keep an eye there. If this thing rolls over, once and if this thing decides to go lower, we're going to watch this value area low, which happens to be 34.84. We're right at that 86 level that we talked about last week. Remember, that was that range, 84 to 86. Really looking for some opportunity there. Been keeping an eye on a lot of that. Market's been very reactionary around these prices. So if we can get through here, this thing may want to start to slip and really rotate lower, but it's going to take some work to get through there. It's going to take a little bit. 80 is going to put up a little bit of a fight. We may see 34.80 put up a little bit of a fight to get down there. Now, on the flip side, if we go higher, obviously 3,500. BFRN, value area high from the other day. Definitely keeping an eye on that price to the upside. And I'm with level 2. I like 35.15 up above. I like it. It's a level I've looked at, and we're gonna mention that one here today. So I think we got some good levels to keep an eye on in this level. I think this market can give us some good opportunities here today. We got a lot of news coming out, a lot of processing of what Jerome Powell had to say. We have gaps within our chart already, so we gapped open. Definitely going to be looking to see if this market rotates lower, because it may want to fill that gap back towards settlement price. So there's a lot that could still happen here today. Definitely going to keep an eye on things and be cautious. Take it slow and wait for this thing to open and give me a little idea on that open of what it wants to do. And the same thing's going to go over here for the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, just like S&P 500. Quite a few down days in a row, showing some positive light here, everyone, this morning. We are seeing some positive light. Feels pretty good. But what do we got when we look a little bit closer? It's going to try and come down and close our gap, 1816 3/4. It's going to want to close. It may want to come down, rotate lower, close the gap down to settlement price, which is 11,798. 11,798. So, a lot of room for this thing to rotate lower. A couple things to start keeping an eye on. We are starting to pick a little bit of direction. If this thing wants to work. Okay, my computer's absolutely freaking out. Just move the whole chart. Let's try this again. All right. Market has started, and this is very short time frame, very low volume, has started to pick some sort of direction, but we've had a couple bounces off this level here, or off this trend line. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Now, where else can this thing go? Well, like we said, 11,816. From there, all the way down to settlement price down at 798. Very key area to keep an eye on. Gapped open, definitely want to keep this in mind. Now, where else can it go from here? Well, we do have some ideas up above that's worth keeping an eye on, in my opinion. We're first going to have to try and get above 935. Friday's point of control. If we can get through there, we're going to start looking towards, of course, value area high. It's definitely an area keeping an eye on. 11,965 from there. 12,000 is the level. And up above that, guys, we're going back to my 12,015. We talked about it all last week. And if this market comes back into play and starts to show a little bit of life, 12,015 is going to be where I'm keeping my eye on. All right. That is what we got in the NASDAQ. Again, big gap down lower. Don't force yourself to look for the market to come down here. You know, a lot of times we look for confirmations for these markets to do things for us. Don't force yourself to find the reason. But if the market starts to show you, hey, we're making directional moves down there, let's look for opportunity to close it down to that gap. So next, let's go ahead and look at gold. Gold. Weekly kickoff high, 1920. Market rejected from there last night, but doesn't mean it's over. We may still see this thing push higher back into it, and maybe it breaks through and we accelerate to the upside. Weekly kickoff low, 1880. 1880 is our weekly kickoff low. When we're looking, we still are maintaining a little bit of a trend to the upside here, right? What the heck just happened? Oh, no. Guys, we just lost my 30-minute gold chart. All right. I'm not going to try and make a whole new one, but let's at least pull it up here just so we can... My apologies. All right. Looking on our 30-minute here. All right, so what do we got? Well, we've got... I'm not going to sit here and waste our time, everyone's time trying to draw them up. I'll work on those here today. Market has rejected 1920. Going to look for this market to rotate higher if it does get up to that level. A couple places to keep in mind that I'm looking at here. First off, we have settlement price down here at 1906.40. 1906.40. And I got a few different levels I'm keeping an eye on. If we break through 20 up above, I'm looking 24 up to 28. And then to the downside, Settlement price down to 1900. So just wanted to point those out for us here really quick. We'll get these charts fixed for this afternoon. Next, let's go ahead and look at currencies. Euro pressing up towards that weekly kickoff high of 117.80. We've pushed through it just slightly, come back now. It's rotating lower. Whoops, I should probably adjust location of this. There we go. 117.78. 117.80 is weekly kickoff high with a weekly kickoff low down here at 116.50. When we look a little bit closer, market, strong rally in the overnight session, huge moves coming up. As soon as London opened, this market really took off. I'm going to be interested to see how this thing plays out now that we're getting more and more information on EU and Europe with their coronavirus cases. So, a couple things I'm going to keep an eye on. First off, we are above weekly kickoff high, so if this thing comes lower, we're going to look to see some reaction right here at 117.80. 117.80. Look to see some reaction there. Now, if this thing goes higher, which is by all means very reasonable, I got us up here 118.08. 118.08. Area I'm watching, I was looking for as this thing started to go. I was hoping maybe we can get there. We haven't yet, so that's where I'm going to be looking if it continues higher. We rotate lower, like I said, 117.80. It's going to be a little work to get through there. And then I really don't see it getting all the way down to settlement price, but we all know we got to mark settlement price on our charts. It's vital. Settlement price of 117.32. 117.32 is settlement price, so just a couple things to keep an eye on this chart. And lastly, let's go ahead and look at this yen, and we'll get the heck on out of here. Yen started to struggle on Friday, showing some life. We had that big breakdown Thursday. Friday, really unchanged right now. Again, staying unchanged. Kind of the standard with the yen. We're just falling well into ranges here. So what are we looking at? We're going to define our range right now. Friday's value area high, 95 even. 95 even. I'm bringing my channel even a little bit higher. I'm looking at set a point of control from Friday, which is basically this market just sat all day. 94, 92. To be honest with you, really not looking much more outside of this. I mean, if we really open this thing up, I forgot to draw settlement price, obviously. Settlement price is 94.94. Excuse me. And this, for those that ever asked, this is how I get settlement price up on these charts. Just find the price and draw a line. Simple as that. 94.94 is settlement price. If the market breaks through here, like I said, going to keep an eye on 94.92 and our high up here at 95 even. Really just looking to range trade this thing, as that's what's been paying out most lately with the yen. All right, guys, I see some comments here. Let me take a look. Robin, how's John doing? John's doing well. I spoke to him a lot last night. He's feeling better. He's hoping to be back in at some point this week. So fingers crossed. He said I'm missing everyone, so he misses all you guys. Cannot wait to get back to work. He's starting to feel better, so that's great news. All right, Charles, level 2. Looks like we got a lot of similar levels. That's always great. Vlad. Looks like Friday's resistance if it wants to rally. Cool. Tanya, will do. Send him all your well wishes. Level 2, I can't argue that. Cash is a great position going into elections. Marco, thanks. You have a good day too, Josue and Robin. All right, guys, a couple more minutes till the equity open. It is Monday. Don't rush into anything. Take your time. It's a long week. There's a lot going to be happening this week. Remember, it's like the trade deal. Talks are going well. So we'll definitely just be conscious of that with the stimulus package. So a lot of news this week. Other than that, guys, I'm going to sign on out. I want to fill my coffee cup before the equity open. And other than that, you guys stay safe, stay smart, trade well. Look forward to seeing you guys in the markets. I'll be back here 3 p.m. Central Time for the market recap. Until then, trade well, everybody. We'll see you guys in the markets.